Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to share with you the instructions for completing the peer review. So at this point you should have submitted your rough draft for essay number 2. So under modules you should be in our Canvas course page, and under modules or under the home page scroll down to week 11, and here underneath the header that says essay number 2 draft submissions and peer review, you should have submitted your rough draft to this assignment submission box, and this assignment submission box will help me see who is ready to complete the peer review. So I'll see who has submitted their rough draft, and then I'll see who I can partner up with who. So usually what I do is I remind myself of what your topic is, and then I try to partner people up that I think can give each other insights based on the topics that you're writing about. And then I'll also use this rough draft to give you feedback. So after you've submitted your rough draft, then you're ready to click on this discussion post that says peer review for essay number 2. So depending on if you're in my Monday, Wednesday class, you should be clicking on this post on Wednesday, April 1st after 9 a.m. I should have you partnered up. If you're in my Tuesday, Thursday class, then click on this post on Thursday, April 2nd after 9 a.m. and I should have you partnered up as well. And after 9 a.m. is when you'll be able to access your partner's rough draft. And I want you to click on this peer review for essay number 2 Word doc link. So this is the peer review sheets, and then I might ask you to upload your rough draft a second time, but at this point I don't expect to have to do that. So I think I can do it on my end, but since I haven't partnered you up yet, I'm going to wait until everyone submits their drafts. Then I'll be able to remind myself whether I can submit those attachments. So hopefully when you're ready to complete the peer review, you'll have access to your partner's draft. But just in case I need you to upload it again, what you'll need to do is click on this reply button, and then you'll see this text box appear, and then on the bottom of the text box click attach right here, and then choose file, and then find the storage that you used to save your essay number 2 rough draft, and then you'll just open it and then click post reply. And this is for any attachment, so you'll have to go through that process when you complete the peer review, and this is how your partner will access the completed peer review. So at this point you've uploaded your draft and you've downloaded the peer review for essay number 2. Once you've downloaded it, you should see this document, and it's very similar to the peer review that you completed for essay number 1. So please be clear as to who the writer is. So the writer is the person who wrote the essay, and you are the person reviewing the essay. So put the writer's name and put your name, and that way I'm able to assign grades to the writer and to the reviewer. Then I want you to open your partner's draft in Canvas and read their essay without stopping to make any comments. So you should be able to download their draft. And if you're using Microsoft Word, I want you to turn on the track changes in Word. And so what you need to do to track changes is go to this review tab. So click on review. Click right here on track changes, and that will allow you to make changes that are visible to the writer. So let's say I want to make a change here, like I don't think that this is the appropriate language to use, or I have a suggestion. I strike it through, and then this is what pops out for the writer. They could see that I've made this change. If I want to insert something in the document itself, like a punctuation mark, or I want to insert a word, then any changes that are made will be obvious because the font will be a different color and then it'll be underlined. You can also highlight words and insert comments. So under review, let's say I wanted to insert a comment for these two sentences, I would highlight them. Then under review, I would go to new comment, and then I can add my comment. So this is the tool I use to review papers. So that way you can help the writer by offering suggestions or commentary that comes up that might not be related to the actual peer review sheet. Okay. So I want you to, after you've clicked on track changes in Word, I want you to review the paper once more and point out any concerns you have about the content or grammar of the essay. So pointing out the grammar is not necessary because you might not be at a point where you feel confident in your grammar skills, and that's okay. If that's not your strength, then I would say then don't give the writer suggestions about grammar. Content is what we're focusing on. And I also want you to point out anything that might be confusing in your partner's paper. And maybe that confusion is because of a word choice, or the sentence doesn't make sense because of the way it's structured, or maybe they include some kind of source material that you're not clear as to what point they're trying to achieve. So all these are really important ideas to consider, and you want to point out to the writer in case they should revisit an area of their essay that they need to clarify. So all of these things can be done using the track changes or inserting comments. So after you've done that, you're going to focus on two major areas. First, you're going to focus on the major claims that they're offering. And usually the major claims are those main ideas that they include in their discussion. So these are the body paragraphs, right? These are the claims that are helping support the thesis statement. And so after you've read your peer's draft, make a list of each paragraph's major claim for your partner's essay. And basically, I just kind of want you to summarize those major claims. So in paragraph 1, what's the major claim that's being offered? For paragraph 2, what's the major claim? So just paraphrase those. If you find that they have really strong topic sentences for their body paragraphs, and you want to write their topic sentence word for word, so like their first sentence of their body paragraph, you can write that if you think that that is their major claim. And just use quotation marks, and that way the writer knows that you're quoting them. If you're paraphrasing them, I would say in parentheses, say that you're paraphrasing what the major idea is. And you're creating kind of like an outline here, right? You're outlining the major points, the major claims that are being made. And when you outline them, you should see a flow. So does point 1 or claim 1 flow into claim 2 or build onto claim 2? Does claim 2 transition smoothly to claim 3? So do you see why the argument is moving from claim 1 to claim 2 to claim 3 to claim 4? In other words, something that I noticed in peer reviews for essay 1 was that there wasn't a lot of commentary provided. So reviewers basically just said, yes, it makes sense why the person went from point 1 to point 2 to point 3. So notice here that I'm asking you not is there any gaps between ideas? Because this is where reviewers just said, no, there are no gaps between ideas. So I want you to give some kind of feedback. So I want you to review the list and explain how effectively each paragraph moves from one to the next. So in other words, I'm not asking you to respond yes or no. I'm asking you to explain to me what the writer does well to move from claim 1 to claim 2 to claim 3 to claim 4. If you see any gaps, then what are those gaps? So this is not a yes or no response. This is where you're really dissecting what the writer is doing well. And if you see that there are gaps or it doesn't make sense why the writer moves from claim 1 to claim 2 or claim 2 to claim 3, then this is the opportunity to point that out. Again, I don't want you to feel like you are criticizing the writer, because that's not the objective of this assignment. The objective of this assignment is to help the writer improve the essay. So we all know that we're at that point in the process where we want to give each other useful feedback. And just saying that everything was done well is not useful feedback. You are taking a lot of time to read somebody else's work. So make that time worthwhile by giving that writer some feedback that they can work with to help them improve their ideas and the flow of their ideas. And then I want you to look at the scholarly research that the writer uses. So the quotes and the paraphrases. And here I'm asking, so in the spaces below, write an excerpt for each instance of a quotation and or paraphrase summary for the essay. Indicate the paragraph number where the source material is included. So if in paragraph 1 they included a quote or a paraphrase or a summary, here next to the number 1 you would write paragraph 1 provides this quote, or paragraph 2 provides this summary. So I'm just wanting you to locate the source material that's being used. Now, after you've done that, you've located all the source material that is being provided, I want you to review whether the use of quotations and paraphrases is balanced and appropriate. So in other words, is there a good balance between paraphrase, quote, and summary? If it's all quoted material, then you need to say that there is no summary or paraphrase, that the writer just relies on quotes. And if you get some kind of comment like that as the writer, I recommend that you mix it up a little. Your source material shouldn't all be quoted material. You should have a good balance between summarization and paraphrase. And here I give you a couple of suggestions. So remember, quotes are to be used for specific information, a portion of a source that could not be stated any better than it already is. Paraphrases or summaries can be useful in covering a lot of ground and offering a general explanation as to the content of a source. So in other words, when you're quoting something, that's because you can't say it any different way. Because if you do attempt to say that information differently, then you're going to be altering the meaning of the quote. But for the most part, you should have a good balance between quotes, summaries, and paraphrases. So you shouldn't just be relying on just quoting from your source material. And then make sure that each is followed by an explanation or analysis. So every time the writer provided a quote or a summary or a paraphrase, was there an explanation of why that source material was important? And here's what I find. Students too often use a source and end their analysis. So they don't really explain the significance of the quote. They don't connect that quote or summary or paraphrase back to the major claim or the thesis statement. So there's a lack in analysis, which means that there's a lack of critical thinking that's happening. Your reader should know why that quote is being, or that source material is being included in the discussion. What makes it important? What should the reader pick up from that source? How is that source connecting back to the writer's major argument? Like, all that is important and is necessary to be included in the discussion. And so this is the area where I want you to, if you find that maybe like next to number 1, you wrote down that the writer used a summary, but you don't see the writer explaining the summary, write that in that space. Writer does not offer enough commentary about why this summary is important. And that bullet point will not be there when you download this document. And then that will be the end of the peer review for the reviewer. So on page 4 here, there is a task for the writer, but the reviewer has completed their part of the peer review. So basically the writer is just giving in-text commentary. So that's step 1, where you track the changes on Word. You give in-text commentary as you read the essay. Then you're reviewing the major claims and evaluating those major claims. And then you're looking at the support material. When you finish doing that, reviewer, make sure that you save the essay number 2 peer review. So you would go up to File, Save As, right? Give it a name. And I put in the person's name. So let's say I am reviewing Katrina's peer review. So I'll put Katrina peer review for essay number 2. So make sure it has the writer's name in the file that you're saving it under. Then save it wherever you want to save it, in whatever storage that you use. So let's save it. And then you would go back to the discussion, and then you would attach the file. So find the storage that you were using to save it, and then you would attach the file for your partner. So as the reviewer, you have completed your part of the process. So that's step 2. So step 1 was downloading the peer review sheet in the discussion post. Step 2 was completing the peer review for your partner and uploading it so your partner can have access to the peer review. And now step 3 is up to the writer. So now, writers, when you get your peer review, so locate the peer reviews that were submitted to this discussion post. When you locate the peer review, open the attachment. So open the peer review that was completed for you. So let's say I have this peer review, it's filled out for me. Now you have a job as a writer. After you've read the peer review and the response that your reviewer had for you, the responses, then I want you to explain the importance of the quotes you are using. How do they connect back to your thesis or major idea? So here I want you to pick up on where your partner left off And if you see that they noticed any gaps or anything that was missing, any kind of explanation or significance that they felt was missing in your discussion, here's your opportunity to write that down. So you should be reviewing your own source material. You're looking at spaces where you included sources, and you're saying how that source is connecting back to the main idea that you're discussing throughout your paper. That way you have an understanding as to why you're using that source. Like, what is that source helping you accomplish in your discussion? So once you have completed this, then you can save it to your own device. So you're saving this. This is your own file. Save as. You could still use the same name, so it should be your name. Save it. So this is the second round of that this document is being saved as, right? So you save it, and then you'll have it for your own use. So you're using this peer review to help you complete the final draft. And you will notice under modules that there's an assignment box here that says completed peer review for essay number 2. So that will be the space where you can upload your peer review. Something that I forgot to mention, when you are finishing up the peer review for your partner, so you're in the discussion portion, and you uploaded the peer review sheet for your partner, upload the document, their essay, where you track the changes. So you downloaded their essay, right? So you've made comments, so you have those comment bubbles on the margins. You have track changes in case you made any in-text changes to their essay. Make sure that you also attach that. So anything that you're attaching, you should be able just to find that reply button, hit that attach button, and choose the file. So just save that essay that you were marking up, save it to your device, and then upload it as well. So you'll be uploading 2 documents. You'll be uploading their essay, and you'll be uploading their peer review sheet. And then the writer, when you get those documents, make sure you review the comments that were made on your essay and review the peer review sheet. And you need that peer review sheet because you're completing page 4 of it. And when you are ready to submit the final draft of essay number 2, just go down to week 11. You'll hit this essay number 2 final draft submission. Click on that assignment box. And you'll be able to submit your final draft. And then you'll also be able to submit the, didn't go to modules. You'll be able to submit the completed peer review for essay number 2. Just click on there. And here I have these instructions. Post the completed peer review for essay number 2. Remember that your assigned partner filled out the first 3 pages for you, and you filled out page 4. So your assigned partner filled out pages 1 through 3 for you, as well as marking up your rough draft. And then you, the writer, completed the peer review by reviewing what the reviewer wrote about your work, and then you filled out page 4. So there are multiple steps to this process. So just to recap quickly, the first part of the process is you go to week 11, you go to peer review for essay number 2 under discussions. It's a discussion post. You click on the peer review for essay number 2 document, so that's the peer review sheet. Make sure that you download your partner's essay as well. You will mark up your partner's essay, You will fill out pages 1 through 3 of the peer review sheet. You'll save both of those documents to your device. Then you'll have to upload those 2 documents to this discussion post. And then when you complete that part of the process, then the writer can now access those 2 documents. So now when you're reviewing what your partner wrote about you, you download your rough draft, which should be marked up. You download the peer review, and pages 1 through 3 should be filled out. Make sure you complete page 4. Then by the due date, submit your final draft. So you should be using these responses as tools to help you finalize your essay. So use those as tools to help you complete the draft. And then upload your final draft and upload your completed peer review sheet, so pages 1 through 4 will be completed. If you have any questions about any part of this process, let me know.